Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and today I want to talk to you about getting education outside of college is of utmost importance. I'll get people every now and then who will take umbrage with something I've said about not going to college and why you shouldn't waste your time going to college for most people. And 99.99% of the time it's because they went to college, and so they're trying to justify the expenditure and the time they wasted in college. Now, college certainly has many great points for many people if they're going into various industries or businesses that require a college education. But here's the reality. For most people, it's a waste of time. For most people, even more so than just the waste of time, because you could say maybe they got some knowledge along the way, and that would be good. But it's a complete waste of money. And many people are going into serious debt to get a piece of paper to show for their time spent and the money spent, and nothing's coming of it. They're going off working entry-level jobs, just as if they could have done straight out of high school or without even any high school. I had one person tell me, well, but you don't understand. It was so important to me to graduate college because no one in my family had. And listen, I'm not taking away from the accomplishment of graduating, the accomplishment of starting something and completing it. Absolutely not. My issue has nothing to do with people who went to college except for the fact that it's wasting their time and their money when they could be doing, in the prime of their life, they could be doing more profitable endeavors that would actually give them a good life. And here's the thing, if you're thinking, well, but I want to have this knowledge, and you should never stop learning. It shouldn't depend on whether you went to college or not, whether you are educated. Because I've known so many college educated people who know almost nothing. They don't have any wisdom, they have no understanding, they have almost no knowledge. So to think that that's going to somehow make you magically be intellectually curious and be a lifelong learner, it's just not the case. For most people, that's the ending of their knowledge, not the beginning of it. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 7 says this, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting get understanding." Proverbs 16:16 says this, "How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather to be chosen than silver." And let me explain the differences between wisdom and understanding, and wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom is where you know a certain truth, but the understanding is the application to get you to that point, to get you to that truth. So you need to know something that is true and wise, but you also need to know the mechanics and the ways to get to that point. And that is absolutely not taught in most colleges. And a matter of fact, in most colleges today, people are taught things that hinder them from having wisdom and keep them back from understanding. Sure, they'll have book knowledge and they'll be able to rattle off some figures, but they couldn't actually apply it to their life to get anything of value. I've known of people who went to college for accounting, thinking they were going to learn about money and how to get wealthy and rich, and they learned nothing about it. There's people graduating college that still do not know how to make money and how to become wealthy. They do not have wisdom and they do not have understanding. Now, this is not to discredit you if you've been to college, because if you've been to college and you completed and you graduated and you're happy with it, great. But just because you graduated 20 years ago doesn't mean that college is still good for people today. I'm not talking to people who already graduated college. You can't undo that. It's already done. But if you're about to go to college, or you're in college now and you're thinking, why am I spending 40 grand in debt? I'm learning about delusions and degeneracy, and it's being taught as if it's truth. And I'm not learning anything that's actually going to apply to my life. And I'm paying money for this. It would be different if it was free, even though that's sometimes worse, because then you don't value your time. And I think more people would go there if it was free because they don't value their time. If you truly value your time and you want to learn and be educated and have wisdom and knowledge and understanding, college may not be the place for you. Actually, in most cases, it's not the place for you. It's going to give you exact opposite of those goals. And that's hard for people to hear, especially if they went to a good college where they did learn a lot. And there was a lot of wisdom and understanding given, but that's not the majority. That's a rare few. And whether you went to college or not, you cannot stop your learning. You cannot stop gaining of wisdom and understanding. You must continue to increase in your knowledge and then apply it daily. And this is so important because whether you go to college or not, if your education is stopped when your mandatory education has stopped, you're in for a rough life, because the only thing you can do is fall in line with the programming of what you learned as a kid. So you're going to be just like your parents. Now, your parents may be great people, but do they have the life you want? Probably not, because most people are average, and average is not what anybody shoots for. The only way you could shoot for average as being some sort of noble goal is if you're below average, and most people won't even acknowledge if they are below average. But no, people don't set goals to, I want to be average. They want to be great, rich, wealthy, successful, abundant, generous, giving and blessing and doing good things for people. And you're not going to do that if you're average. And college teaches you to be average. It teaches you the skills and a little bit of knowledge to be a useful worker in whatever field you're going into. Doesn't teach you how to be an entrepreneur, even if you go to business school. Doesn't teach you how to run a business. Doesn't teach you how to make money and be successful. Doesn't teach you how to think right, have the right mindset so you attract the right things in your life. You're vibrating at the right level. Teaches you nothing about any of that. If it does, it may even mock and ridicule those truths because it wants to keep you in line with being a worker. Just be a worker bee. Do these things, learn this stuff, and go work for some company. Do what they tell you to do, and you'll have a life. Not a good life, not a great life, but you'll have a life. You'll exist. But that's not what most people want. So I encourage you, you should be buying books, you should be investing. There are people who are throwing money away in 401ks and all these investment vehicles. Why aren't you investing in yourself? You should every week have a new book that you're reading and studying. You should be investing. You should have money. If you're spending money on entertainment, going out to eat and movies and sports and all this stuff, why do you not have a budget for education? Books, audiobooks, courses, seminars, whatever it may be, to constantly be growing and expanding your knowledge, your wisdom, and your understanding. My friend, don't fall into the trap of thinking that these government-approved colleges and schools are the beginning and ending of your knowledge, the beginning and ending of your education. Your education must continue outside of college. Whether you went to college or not is irrelevant. You need to continue to grow and educate yourself each and every day. Because if you do, you're going to stand out. You're going to be above average. You're not going to be the average person. You look at average, is that what you want to be? Then do what average people do. But the successful entrepreneur, the CEOs, they read about a book a week on average. Where the average person reads one book a year, maybe. And that's probably a fictional book as well. So they're not even gaining any real knowledge from it. My friend, you have to stand and rise above average, rise above mediocrity. You're called to an abundant life. But you can shun that abundant life. God's freely giving you of His riches, of His goodness, of His abundance. And you can say, well, I'm just going to accept this little tiny thing over here. Just enough for me and mine. Or you can be great, abundant, opulent, wealthy, rich, successful, and extremely generous. And one of the first steps to that is to continue to be educated each and every day. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.